Sparta, a name once whispered with awe, its warriors feared across the ancient Greek world. For centuries, this city-state stood as the very embodiment of discipline, strength, and military supremacy. But even the mightiest empires crumble. And Sparta's downfall came not at the hands of its Greek rivals, but a rising force from the West Rome. This is the story of how a legend of antiquity was humbled. Please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. To understand Rome's victory, we must return to 371 BC. Sparta was still at its peak, yet cracks had begun to form beneath its armor. The seeds of its decline were sown not overnight, but through a series of battles that revealed its vulnerabilities. The first of these tremors came on July 6, 371 BCE, at a place called Leuctra in Boeotia. The Spartan army marched with confidence. Under King Cleombrotus I, they fielded nearly 12,000 men, 10,000 hoplites, and 1,000 horsemen. Opposing them stood Epaminondas of Thebes, a commander of rare brilliance, with fewer than 9,000 soldiers. The odds seemed clear. Sparta, undefeated in generations, was expected to win. But Epaminondas had a plan. The Theban cavalry clashed first, defeating the Spartans and forcing them back. Then, in a bold move, he massed his best troops on the left wing and advanced in a dense, unstoppable column. The Spartan lines faltered. And then came the moment that would echo through history. King Cleombrotus the first fell in battle. The first Spartan king killed in combat for over a century. Spartan morale shattered. Their disciplined ranks dissolved into chaos. The field was left littered with their dead, between 1,000 and 4,000 Spartan warriors. The Thebans had lost only 300. Leuctra was not just a battle, it was a warning that even Sparta's military machine could be broken. In the years that followed, Sparta's dominance crumbled. Theban power rose, reshaping the politics of Greece. But Thebes too would not hold its crown for long. For beyond the horizon, another power stirred a city whose ambitions would surpass them all: Rome. By the 2nd century BCE, Rome was no longer a small Italian republic fighting for survival. It had already crushed Carthage in the Punic Wars, establishing itself as the master of the Western Mediterranean. Now its gaze turned eastward, toward Greece. The Greek world at this time was fractured. Athens, Sparta, and Thebes, once proud and independent, were weakened by centuries of warfare and Macedonian domination. In this chaos, the Achaean League emerged, a confederation of Greek states striving to preserve their freedom. But Rome's shadow loomed large, and its friendship came with heavy costs. Rome's diplomats offered protection. Its armies intervened in disputes. Slowly, Greek independence became an illusion. Roman envoys dictated terms. Greek cities became pawns in a greater game, and still some resisted. By 146 BCE, tension exploded. The Achaean League, desperate to reclaim Greek autonomy, made a bold move. They attacked Sparta, an ally of Rome. Rome's response was swift and merciless. Consul Lucius Mummius was dispatched with legions hardened by decades of conquest. His orders were clear: crush all resistance. One by one, Achaean cities fell. The legions advanced like an unstoppable tide. At last, they reached Corinth, the jewel of Greece, a city renowned for its wealth, culture, and power. What followed was nothing short of annihilation. Corinth was stormed, its defenders slaughtered, its treasures looted. The flames of its destruction lit the skies, erasing one of Greece's greatest cities from history. Survivors were sold into slavery. Rome's message was clear: resistance was futile. With Corinth's fall, the Achaean League was dissolved. Greece was no longer a land of independent city-states. It became a Roman province, divided and subdued. The dream of Greek freedom was over. And what of Sparta? Once a city that struck fear into the hearts of its enemies, it now stood powerless under Rome's dominion. Yet Rome spared Sparta. Perhaps out of respect for its legendary history, perhaps to use its name as a symbol, Sparta was allowed a measure of autonomy. But its glory was gone. No longer did Spartan warriors march to war. No longer did foreign powers tremble at their armies. The city became a relic, its former greatness reduced to stories and ruins. Rome had done more than defeat Sparta. It had reshaped the entire Mediterranean world. And in doing so, It ensured that Sparta's legacy would live on not as a rival, but as a legend of a bygone age. For centuries, Sparta had been invincible, yet even legends fall.